Hello again, John here. This is video 2 in our development series of CIDOS, and in this video we're going to be setting up the project and defining some global variables. Now I've cheated a bit on this because I've actually got the project already started, and here it is. So as you can see, we've got some files already, so we'll just open them one at a time and you'll see what it is. So here we go. This is the character ASCII constants. So these are character constants and their relative number, so we can use them in the assembly code. And as you can see, the file's pretty old because I've used it in quite a few things at the moment, and these are the most common ones that I've used, so there's probably going to be others being added as we go on. DOS macros. So this is going to be a file with any macros that we need, you know, bits of code that we're going to be using again and again and again and again. And so I haven't figured out if we have any, but I've got the file there just in case we need it. DOS routines, right? I've done some already on this, and there's still a lot of things that need to be done to it, but I've got an open disk command channel, and what this does is it stores away the registries because we don't want to disturb the registries, so we store them away on the stack. Then we load the channel number, which is predefined. We load the device number, which is something that we store, and we transfer the device number into Y. Then we set up sorry, not device number, the accumulator. Now this is normally set to 15, so we're setting that to 15 as well. Then we run a kernel jump vector, which is set to logical file structure. Then the next thing is we're going to set up, we're loading the accumulator we want, and we're loading the start and end address, the start address in X and Y of the string we want to send to the channel, and that's where set name comes into it. And if you want to know what start nm is, it's this here, which is initialize. So we're initializing the disk, and then we're running the open command. Now what we need to add here is the error trap routine, so we'll just put some code in here. Because we want to make sure that we capture all the code that comes out of it. Alright, and yeah, that'll do. And then once we've opened it, we bring back what we temporarily stored away before we return back out. So that's the open disk, and then closed disk is exactly this. So we clear the channels, then we get the disk command channel number, and then we close it, and then we return back. So that's dead easy. Let's make this a little bit more readable. There we go. And then we've got the DOS command. Now this is the routine that's going to send the instructions to the device. So we open the channel, we add character return to the end of the DOS command buffer, and the DOS command buffer you'll see is the take buffer. We're going to use it for temporary storage. OCD's kicking in. We have a debug line that will enable when we're messing around with it, which is before it actually goes and sends the command off to the disk drive, it's going to send it to the screen as well, so we know what we're doing. We've got an "Are you sure?" prompt, so we're going to ask, are you sure you want to do this? Because most of the disk operations we will need to ask them. And then we'll load channel, file number 15 and set it to be an output device. Then we load the low and high byte to the DOS buffer, and then we print it. And because we've set the output channel to be the device, that prints it to that device. Then we clear the channel, and then we initialize the DOS buffer with zeros again, because this print routine will print everything up to a 0. So if it comes across a 0, it means that's it, it's done. So we fill the entire DOS buffer with zeros to start with, and then we jump to another area which then tests the status. Now I haven't written that yet, so we need to write that. Then we've got the show DOS command. So this is our basic debugger. So before we commit the thing, we print it out to the screen. This is the "Are you sure?" and basically it's loading carriage return, it's sending it to be printed, it's loading the prompt. So basically the carriage return goes to the next line. We're changing, printing the character, then we're loading the prompt, which is here, "Are you sure?" arrow left. So we print it out, and then we wait for an answer, which is this character in. And because we've not set any file numbers or anything like that, it defaults to the keyboard, as I've explained in the previous videos. Then we wait for the Y, and then if we don't get Y, it comes out and then jumps to the ready prompt. So that's basically saying, you said I don't want to do it, so it's any character, I don't want to do it. But if you do say Y, then it returns back and carries on to from the prompt. Yeah. Well, if you don't say Y, then it pulls back the jump back vectors for the go sub that we did, and then it jumps to ready. Yeah, and ready is a basic command that I'll show you in a minute. Alright, so that's that. So we'll just save that because we changed a bit of it. The next one is the error codes. So these are all the error codes that you can get within the kernel and the basic system. So we got too many files, file open error, file not open error, file not found, device not present, not an input file, not an output file, missing file name, and an illegal device number. They're the kernel ones. And then we've got some basic ones. But we're also going to be creating our own. So there's only 29 error messages inside the Commodore 64 system. So we'll be adding to that. And we'll use the Commodore we'll use the Commodore erroring system, because this is going to be written for both the Commodore VIC-20 and the 64. Then we've got the ROM routines. So these are all the addresses of the ROM routine. So these are all the kernel jump vectors that I've spoken about in previous videos. So I've got a constants file, and then we've got two repeating things. So we're saying if the target is Commodore 64, these variables will be loaded with these values. But if the target is the VIC-20 8K plus, then these variables will have different values, and it will mean that we'll be able to create another project, load all the files in, and because the project will be set for VIC-20, we'll be able to build this on for the VIC-20 as well. So we're going to end up with one piece of source code but two systems it will be able to run on. And then the main system, the main file is going to be this CIDOS. So here we go, written by me on the 5th of Feb, created the CIDOS thing. So I'm now saying if the target is 64, we're going to start at 8000. If the target is VIC-20, we're going to start it at 8000. We're going to include the assemblies of all the constant files. We set up some variables, so we're using the basic command line routines. So this is get a character, got This is the character get, which means get the next character, and character got means get me the character again that I've just had. The DOS command buffer is set to the tape buffer, so we're going to use the tape buffer as a temporary storage, and this is just for the 64 only, so really I need to do this. There we go. So that's the 64 only. The disk command channel number, so basically that's the file number that we're going to use, which is 15. And ready, so basically this is loading the accumulator with 32, storing it into the error location, which wipes it out basically, and then we jump to the basic Rom routine ready prompt. Then we load the DOS routines, because I want the DOS routines to be behind what we're developing, and then we've got some local storage, so we've got the device number currently set to 8, and then the file number, the file name, which is there. Now the file name needs to be up to 40 characters, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. In fact, that's enough. There's nothing more than that. And then I've got some other variables in there that we're going to be using later on, so they're remmed out. So this is our start project, and I will be putting this start project into GitHub, and in the next set of videos we're going to start adding commands, and we're going to be adding one at a time and trying them out and making sure they still work, make sure that the DOS routines work, because we need to add the error trapping in there. We need to be able to test for the error trapping, and hopefully in I don't know how many videos, I'm looking at possibly 8 or 10, we'll have a complete system which then you guys can compile or take the disk image and load it in and be able to use this for all your projects and make life easier when you're using the SD to IEC system. So with that, I will say adieu, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye. I'd like to thank all the patrons that are contributing to my channel. Without you guys, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing right now. Thank you very much.